I'm Evelyn, a 26-year-old realtor, and I've spent the last few months replaying the moment I destroyed the best relationship I've ever had. It all started with a stupid April Fool's prank, a decision so reckless it unraveled everything I held dear. My boyfriend Ryan was my rock, kind, patient, and endlessly loving. We'd been together for 4 years, building a life that felt like it could last forever. But I threw it all away, not just with the prank, but with choices I made long before that moment, choices that revealed the worst parts of me. Ryan and I met at a friend's barbecue, where his easy smile and quiet confidence drew me in. He wasn't flashy, but he had a way of making me feel safe, like I could let my guard down. After a string of bad relationships, including one that left me bruised, both physically and emotionally, Ryan was a breath of fresh air. He listened when I rambled about my day, surprised me with coffee on early mornings, and never pushed me to be anything other than myself. We moved in together after a year, and I started to believe I'd finally found someone who wouldn't hurt me, someone I could trust completely. But trust is a fragile thing, and I carried scars from my past that made it hard to fully let go. My last serious relationship before Ryan was with a guy named Mark, who was charming at first but turned controlling and abusive. He'd scream at me for looking at other men, accuse me of cheating when I was just living my life, and once grabbed my wrist so hard it left marks. Even after I left him, those experiences stuck with me, whispering that no one could be trusted, that betrayal was always lurking. I thought I'd moved past it with Ryan, but deep down I was still terrified of being hurt again, of being the one left behind. That fear twisted something inside me, and it led to the prank that started our downfall. It was April Fool's Day, and I'd seen a video online about relationship pranks that seemed harmless. People pretending to break up or confessing fake secrets, all ending in laughter. I thought it'd be funny to test Ryan to see how he'd react if he thought I'd cheated. Looking back, I can't believe I thought it was a good idea. But at the time I was caught up in the thrill of it like it was just a game. I left a pair of men's socks that weren't his in our laundry basket, sent him a vague text about needing to talk, and when he got home I played it up, acting guilty, dropping hints that I'd been with someone else. Ryan's face crumpled as I spoke, his eyes searching mine for some sign I was joking. When I finally shouted, "April Fools!" expecting him to laugh, he didn't. He just stared at me, his voice low and shaking as he said, "That's not funny, Evelyn." I tried to brush it off, saying it was just a prank, but he shook his head and walked out of the room. That night he slept on the couch, and when I tried to apologize the next morning, he barely looked at me. He said he needed space, that the prank made him question whether I really trusted him. I didn't realize it then, but that moment cracked something fundamental between us. Things didn't get better after that. Ryan grew distant, spending more time at work or with his friends. He wasn't cold exactly, but the warmth that had defined our relationship was gone. I felt him slipping away, and instead of fighting to fix it, I let my insecurities take over. I started questioning where he was, who he was with, convinced he was pulling away because he didn't love me anymore. It was like I was trying to protect myself from the pain I'd felt in my past, but all I did was push him further away. Around that time, I'd started taking pottery classes to fill my evenings. It was something to do, a way to distract myself from the growing tension at home. My instructor, Steve, was charismatic, with a quick wit and a way of making everyone feel special. He'd linger by my table, offering tips, his hand brushing mine as he adjusted the clay. At first it was innocent, or at least I told myself it was. But I started looking forward to those classes more than I should have, craving the attention. The way Steve's compliments made me feel seen when Ryan's distance left me invisible. One evening after a class, Steve asked if I wanted to grab a drink. I knew I should have said no, but I was lonely, and the idea of someone wanting me even for a moment was intoxicating. We went to a bar, and one drink turned into 3. He leaned in close, his voice low, and before I knew it, we were kissing in the parking lot. It wasn't love or even desire. It was a reckless need to feel something other than the emptiness I'd been carrying. That night, I went home to Ryan, who was asleep on the couch, and I told myself it was a one-time mistake, that I could bury it and move on. But it didn't stop there. Steve and I kept meeting after class, stealing moments in his studio or my car. Each time I told myself it was the last, but I was caught in a cycle of guilt and craving, unable to break free. I was cheating on Ryan, the man who'd given me everything, and I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop. It was like I was punishing myself, proving that I didn't deserve someone as good as him. Ryan found out in the worst way possible. He'd been suspicious for weeks. My late nights, my evasive answers about where I'd been. Unbeknownst to me, he'd started recording conversations with a small camera he'd set up in our living room, something he later said he did to catch himself sleep-talking. But the footage caught me instead, phone calls with Steve, moments when I thought Ryan was out of the house. Ryan didn't confront me right away. Instead, he waited until my birthday, a day I thought would be a fresh start. He'd planned a surprise party, inviting our friends, his family, and even my parents. I walked into our apartment expecting a quiet dinner, only to be greeted by cheers and balloons. I was overwhelmed, thinking maybe Ryan was trying to fix things, to show he still loved me. But then he asked everyone to gather around for a special presentation. My stomach dropped as he connected his laptop to the TV. The screen lit up with clips of me, talking to Steve, laughing about our secret, even a blurry shot of us kissing in my car. The room went silent, the air thick with shock and judgment. Ryan's voice was steady as he spoke, addressing the crowd. I thought I knew Evelyn, but I was wrong. This is who she really is. He didn't yell or cry. He just laid out the truth, letting the evidence speak for itself. My parents looked at me with disappointment. His sister shook her head, and our friends avoided my eyes. I wanted to disappear, to rewind time and undo every choice that led to that moment. I tried to speak, to explain, but the words caught in my throat. Ryan turned to me and said, "We're done," before walking out, leaving me standing in the wreckage of my own making. The fallout was swift and brutal. Ryan moved out within days, blocking my number and cutting off all contact. His family, who'd once treated me like one of their own, made it clear I wasn't welcome. My parents, though they didn't disown me, were distant, their disappointment a heavy weight. Friends I thought would stand by me drifted away, unwilling to defend what I'd done. I was alone, living in the apartment we'd shared, surrounded by memories of a life I'd destroyed. I've spent every day since then grappling with regret. I lost Ryan, the one person who loved me unconditionally, because of my own selfishness and insecurity. The prank was bad enough, but the cheating, there's no excuse for that. I let my fears and weaknesses take over, and I betrayed the man who deserved so much better. I think about the future we could have had: marriage, kids, a home filled with laughter, and it breaks my heart to know I threw it away for fleeting moments with someone who meant nothing. I've started therapy to understand why I made those choices, to unravel the insecurities that drove me to hurt the person I loved most. It's a slow process, and some days the guilt feels like it'll swallow me whole. I don't know if Ryan will ever forgive me, or if I'll ever forgive myself, but I'm trying to learn from this, to be better. I've learned that love isn't something to take for granted, that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. If I could go back, I'd hold on to Ryan with both hands, cherish every moment, and never let my fears win. To anyone reading this, let my story be a warning. Value the people who love you. Don't let a moment of foolishness or weakness cost you everything. I lost the love of my life because I didn't appreciate what I had until it was gone, and I'll carry that regret for the rest of my life.